Hi, this is Gary LaRue. I'm the technical editor at Microwave Journal. I'm here at Mobile World Congress 2018. I have Mark Murphy, Paul Wilson, and Dave Ryan from MACOM here, and we're talking about some of MACOM's activities in wireless. So the first thing, let's start with, you recently made an announcement of a partnership with ST Microelectronics for 6 and potentially 8-inch GaN on silicon. Paul, can you tell us a little bit about that relationship?
Thanks, Gary. It's a great question and a very exciting announcement for MACOM. Culmination of many years working with our partner ST on making our GaN and silicon technology fit into this mainstream silicon fab, very high volume, high consistency. And when you look at the show and all of the buzz around 5G, especially sub-6 gigahertz, some of the numbers we're hearing from our customers and operators are that the number of 5G base stations could be quadruple that of 4G LTE base stations. So the only way really to supply that demand is going to be from a high volume silicon fab. And the only way you can get to the performance our customers are requesting is through gallium nitride technology. So I think this announcement with ST marries the gallium nitride performance with silicon scale, volume, and price structures. So for those reasons, we're absolutely excited. Our customers are excited about this announcement with ST, and we're looking forward to supplying real volume in high consistency to the market.
So one of the themes at this year's show, and of course it's been discussed for a number of years, is massive MIMO. Maybe, Mark, you can tell us a little bit about what's the different requirement for the power amplifier for a massive MIMO system versus the traditional macro base station?
Yeah, so I mean, this is a good question because it connects directly into what Paul was saying about the GaN and silicon. So, with if you look at massive MIMO, there's a lot of elements. So typically, we're seeing arrays up to 64, 8x8, and they require really dedicated amplifiers directly in the antenna. And from that point of view, you need really high efficiency. But because there's such a lot of these, you really need good cost structure. So taking what Paul was saying about the GaN and silicon, going to ST and being scalable, the volume goes up, we can get equivalent silicon carbide performance with our GaN and silicon. And because of the cost structure being on silicon, it's compatible to LDMOS. So putting that all together, it basically adds up to what we're seeing and how this fits in. So we're developing a complete portfolio of transistors from 3.5 gigahertz, and we're also integrating them into complete front-end modules, which includes the receive path and the transmit path. And there we address all the thermals, the cost structure, and we're talking to different partners that are looking at that with us.
So what is the relative power level of a massive MIMO power amp in one of the antenna elements? That's
another good question. So it varies a lot. I mean, we've had discussions on the effect of EIRP, and depending on the EIRP, then I can change the amount of power you need in the elements. So the amount of elements, the EIRP defines it. But we're seeing it, between 2 watts average up to 5 watts average requirements coming in.
And tell us a little bit about the product that you released this week in terms of the capabilities.
So we've used a MMIC. So we've integrated the GaN and silicon. We've created a MMIC. It's a Doherty type amplifier for high efficiency, and really that's the amount of heat you have to get off. The higher the efficiency, it makes the whole design a lot more well, not easy, but it addresses one of the thermal things. So that's the main drive behind it. So it's taking the GaN and silicon, integrating it into a Doherty, and using a MMIC technology.
Excellent. So let's switch now to the millimeter wave spectrum, which is, of course, the other big play for 5G. Maybe, Paul, you can address what is MACOM doing to take advantage of that opportunity?
Yeah, that's a good question. We see a lot of buzz around the show on sub-6, 5G, but millimeter wave indeed will play a role. Specifically, in the U.S., we already see some operators announcing fixed wireless access type services with millimeter wave, and many operators around the world also have millimeter wave plans and working through use cases for that technology. So MACOM is actually positioned very well for millimeter wave, traditionally our core business. So we have a long and rich history there with a portfolio of products for the backhaul market. that we've actually been selling into the tier 1 OEMs for their demo systems, getting them up and running, anything from switches, PAs, LNAs, VVAs. We've been working with our customers on that. Next step is to make a few integration steps to make it easier to use, bring down the cost. And we have in our portfolio a front-end module, like Mark was talking about for sub-6. We also have a similar product for 28 gigahertz millimeter wave. It consists of a power amplifier, LNA, and a switch, and associated control circuitry. So we have that out now sampling to the OEMs as well. And from there, we will continue that integration path and be offering our customers cost-effective ways to implement millimeter wave as well as sub-6.
Thank you. Sounds like a good play. We've followed for several years some of the tile array work that you've been doing, largely looking at, say, weather radar and air traffic control, but I suspect that technology is also applicable to massive MIMO or even millimeter wave. So maybe, Dave, you can talk a little bit about what MACOM is doing there behind the curtain.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, so as you mentioned, MACOM's developed this technology, this active antenna technology with some of our partners over the last 10 plus years. And really, where we see the industry going in terms of massive MIMO and beamforming in the sub-6 gigahertz space really leverages this technology that we've built up with a very cost-competitive assembly platform. And not only that, but we see that the other challenges within these arrays is the transport of data, right? So how do you get the data in and out? And that feeds to the third element of MACOM's technology portfolio, which feeds into these tiles, which is the optical fronthaul and backhaul. So we see the direction of the 5G massive MIMO antenna array solution really taking in these three core elements of MACOM's technology portfolio: the front-end modules that Mark spoke about, the tile array technology and the gain that you can get from coherently forming beams with this array, and the optical technologies, and we put those three together. It's a sweet spot.
Well, it sounds like a lot of very interesting technology development that's turning into productization here, certainly in the next year or so with the rollout of 5G. So I appreciate you guys spending some time with us. I'm Gary LaRue at Mobile World Congress 2018.